Hello, my name is Kristen Zacharias, and this is my informative speech for public speaking. It is over cell phones. Here is my note card, and the citations are not on the note card, they'll be in the paper that I turn in. Ping, ping, How often do you hear these noises throughout the day? You probably don't notice anymore because you become so accustomed to it, but it's many more than you actually think. I've developed through the age of the cell phone. My first phone was a track phone that I used only to make emergency calls. And then my next phone was a flip phone. I used this phone to then make a few calls and a few texts. After years of dealing with a vastly outdated phone, I finally upgraded to a smartphone that had all the treasures that one could want at the tips of my thumbs. Many of us have experienced this. We know cell phones have developed through the decades, and they are beneficial with all their assets, but they also bring about problems like most things do. Let's take a peek at how they started. Cell phones have developed over time. The first one, called a mobile phone by a few people today, was invented in 1983, but the technology was actually developed in the 1940s. According to thepeopleshistory.com, these phones worked off of an analog system, which meant that there was more static and noise interference than in today's digital technology. These mobile phones were first built into cars, and later a big bulk of plastic that you had to carry around. But in the 1990s, the first phone was developed with digital technology. And according to thepeopleshistory.com, these phones became smaller built and more energy efficient. Soon after the technology was installed in phones, 3G cell phones were being sold. And these phones had the capability to text, email, surf the internet, play games, and all sorts of things that weren't seen before. Developments have increased day to day with cell phones, but have they actually helped society? The benefits of cell phones are many. One of them is how it helps with our children. Society is starting to get kids involved with cell phones at a more early age. Some people don't agree with this, but there are safety factors. The possibility that cell phones are more reliable than any other form of communication is a tool that can keep your child safe because they're allowed to get a hold of you on a daily basis, an hourly basis if needed to, and if plans change, you have a way to get a hold of anyone that you need. Another feature is a tracking device. Cell phones can be tracked, and parents like to use this device when looking for their kids. But kids, on the other hand, might not like this part. Another advantage is in education. Cell phones and internet devices have been used to help educate our children. I know that I have seen this with my 2-year-old nephew, that just a few games and songs that can be played on your phone can help them develop speech and other such things. But there are disadvantages. A disadvantage that has been talked about a lot is the distraction factor. Texting while driving. In an article written by the Federal Communications Commission, 40% of all American teens say that they have been in a car with a driver that's used a cell phone in a way that has put the other passengers in danger. I don't know about you, but that gives me a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. And as told to us by Kathy Bolton in the April 16th edition of the Des Moines Register, 60% of crashes nationwide are teen drivers either chatting or looking at passengers in the vehicle or talking and texting on their cell phones seconds before the collisions occur. Another disadvantage of a cell phone can be their social distractibility. It takes away from the communication from person to person. Many people use cell phones such as when they're walking down the street or at the beginning of class, as many of us have seen. When you're sitting in the beginning, waiting for your class to begin, you notice that people are on their cell phones instead of communicating with one another. As we've been able to discover, cell phones have developed from large, bulky blocks of plastic to skinny, fragile devices. Through the development, they have made it easier to talk. Cell phones have developed into a wealth of information that can be carried with us instantly. We have to realize, though, the correct time to use such a beautiful tool. Aaron Smith tells us that 83% of American adults own some kind of cell phone. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that as our generation grows older, this percent might also increase.